Hey guys, weekend energy update as we are now coming out of our full moon in Aries that happened on Thursday, October 17th. Of course, we got some very elevated levels of energy going on right now. We've actually been in some very strong scorpionic energy. Mars is building into an opposition with Pluto, which is being squared by the sun. This is happening in cardinal signs. Our energetic backdrop right now is really quite tense and maybe like conflict oriented. There could be some powerful things kind of like coming to a head, very confrontational. So we've got that going on, sort of like playing out in the background, the undercurrent of things. However, this weekend is bringing kind of like a bit of a balancing effect in terms of all of that and that whole cardinal square situation that we have going on. The moon will be transiting the sign of Taurus this weekend, and then it will enter the sign of Gemini. Now, as I mentioned, we've got a lot of Scorpio energy going on, and the counterpoint to that, the polarity to that, the balance to that would be the Taurus energy. So in the midst of just this quite intense and maybe very powerful energy that we have going on with Mars and Pluto in opposition being squared by the sun, we do have a lovely Taurus moon that is blessing us this weekend. And even after the moon leaves the sign of Taurus, the moon will then form an opposition to Venus, who has recently entered the sign of Sagittarius. That's something else that we need to talk about in the energy for today. Venus entered Sagittarius yesterday, a little bit after the full moon, and this is a vibe shift. So we've got to talk about Venus and Sag vibes. And as I said, on Sunday, actually, the moon in Gemini will oppose Venus and Sagittarius before heading to make conjunction with Jupiter. We do have a rather perhaps kind of like comforting and uplifting couple of days coming at us this weekend, which I think that we should do our best to take advantage of. Let's get into our report of the weekend, you guys. Let's look at all this and all of the details, put it all together, get a better idea of where we're at and where we're going as we prepare to head into next week. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Friday, October 18th, 2024. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the weekend, where we are narrating the shift of the ages. In this video, we are picking up right on the heels of the full moon in Aries that we just had yesterday on Thursday the 17th, talking about where that energy is leaving us and how energy is unfolding as we move through the weekend, preparing to enter next week. Now, again, I will tell you, sort of as I said last week, it was sort of, I was calling it a bit of a red flag week, just a period of time where, maybe we want to practice a bit of enhanced self-awareness, observational awareness, self-discipline, not letting our emotions get the best of us, trying not to be too hyper reactive about stuff, trying not to associate ourselves too much with any passing feelings or emotions that might be coming through. This was the vibe. I feel like this is also the vibe that is gonna help us navigate and maneuver the way the energy is coming in next week. But this weekend, we are getting, I feel like, a bit of a break in terms of just the intensity and the complexity and maybe the issues or the struggles, challenges, whatever all of these cardinal squares are presenting. Remember, as sort of just our general backdrop right now, our general undercurrent of things, we have Mars building into an opposition with Pluto. Pluto recently having station direct at 29 degrees of the sign of Capricorn. So Mars is coming day by day into a closer and tighter opposition with that. That's a powerful aspect that can bring a lot of powerful confrontations when we've got Mars and Pluto opposing each other, especially at the last critical degree of the cardinal signs. All right, and Pluto at that degree as a culmination point of a transit that's been operating since 2008. So this is a powerful energy. And not only that, because the sun happens to be transiting the end of Libra right now, the sun is also building into a square with Pluto, which will come exact next week on the 22nd, and Mars and the sun will also come into a square coming up here pretty soon. So and Mars, Pluto, the sun, these all are like powerful, like more like masculine oriented forces that kind of like want to dominate. Like Mars wants to be the dominating force, Pluto of course wants to be the dominating force, and the sun is also wanting to be the dominating force. So there could just be a lot of like interpersonal power plays and issues. But anyways, that's not now, that's next week, and a bit of what we've been coming out of as well. The full moon, of course, if you watched that video, was characterized by a lot of that energy too. So that's just where we're at, as I said, sort of like a backdrop and an undercurrent. However, this weekend, if we choose to sort of like wall that out and like shut the doors to like the potential like battle type of ish energy raging outside and just be in the moment, focus on where we're at, focus on like how in this moment most likely we are okay, we have what we need, or like even if we don't have everything that we need, like finding and focusing on the things that we do have and like cultivating gratitude for the simple things, indulging in the simple things, allowing ourselves to like just put our feet on the ground and like maybe immerse ourselves in nature or something like that. This is going to benefit us. This is going to offset a bit of just that intensity out there. Remember, as I've said, you know, Mars and Pluto, when we're dealing with Mars and Pluto, the combination of that energy, what is that? That is Scorpio. Scorpio is a sign ruled originally by Mars, but modern day ruler is Pluto. And when we take the Martian energy and add a little bit of intensity and a little bit of strategy and a little bit of like unseen power to it, and that's the Scorpio vibe. And the oppositional sign, of course, to Scorpio is Taurus, right, which is ruled by Venus. When we've got too much Scorpio, we need a little bit of Taurus in there to balance it out. And luckily for us, in the midst of this backdrop, okay, that, you know, is just, it is what it is right now, that cardinal square energy that I just got done, you know, talking about, that's taking place with the Mars Pluto building and square to the sun in Libra, to have a good dose of Taurus moon this weekend. The moon is also exalted in the sign of Taurus. Like, this is a positive lunar energy. To get that right now in the midst of this, I do think is going to be like, you know, a little bit of like nurturing on that soul type of level. Like there should be some level of comfort like we can derive and maybe a bit of the midst of the chaos as we move through the weekend. And that is what we should seek to cultivate. This is kind of a bit of a break in the action. And again, if we can kind of just like choose to be in our own little world, like in our own little moment right here, it should be a pretty pleasant experience as we move through the weekend. And it should also do some things, especially as we get into the energy of later Saturday into Sunday, to kind of like re-stimulate us, like reinvigorate us on some level, like maybe it's a little closer to re-inspiring us, or like helping us to have a bit of restored faith or optimism about things, like feeling like things might be okay, like looking at things through more of like an opportunity and potential lens. It should help to uplift us a little bit, because we've got Venus Sag and the moon's going to enter Gemini and oppose that, and we'll talk about that more as we get through the report. But that's really what I want to focus on this weekend. Yes, we do have all of this intensity that is playing out. Another thing that we've had going on this week that I haven't really touched on too much in the midst of all these cardinal squares and this full moon and everything, we have also had the sun in Libra forming a trine to Jupiter this week. So we do have a touch of that energy left as well. That actually, on one hand, you know, the sun trining Jupiter, like this is going to expand, have a bit of expansive effect on like everything else that has been playing out, but it has also an opportunity to bring like a silver lining or some good fortune, or at least like having like a good judgment or making a smart choice or a decision in the context of maybe like the issues or the challenges that we've been facing as well. And we do still have that energy present. They're separating. They're not in as tight of an orb as they have been all week in the context of this air sign trine between Jupiter and the sun. But this is also helping to, you know, elevate our spirits, bring in some broadened perspective, maybe the answer that we've been seeking or looking for. helping us also to, like, now that Jupiter is retrograde, maybe gain some clarity about some things that we've been struggling with internally, see things from a bit of a different perspective that might open things up for us somehow. So there is sort of an energy of embracing opportunities, like embracing potential and shifting our perspective maybe a little bit to like see the glass as a bit more half full as we move through the weekend and prepare to enter the energy of next week. Which, another thing that I want to say, you know, and I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. Of course, we got a whole Monday video coming up and we're going to really get into this stuff. But now that we have Venus in the sign of Sagittarius, and Jupiter, remember, is the ruler of Sagittarius. Jupiter is currently in the sign of Gemini, which opposes Sagittarius. We're going to, for the next like couple of weeks, we're going to be dealing with Venus building into an opposition with Jupiter, and that is generally one of the, you know, more positive aspects in astrology. It should bring some positive growth in some capacity, especially things having to do with relationships, partnerships, maybe legal situations, love, money, finance, value, stuff like that. So there could be, again, like a bit of a boost that is kind of being foreshadowed, I guess we could say, by the way that transits and energy are hitting this weekend immediately following this full moon. So if you've been feeling like you are sort of at the breaking point, there could be just a bit of relief on one hand with that Taurus moon, and maybe some good news, or just a perspective shift that opens things up, or maybe just like something good, a good conversation, or, you know, a positive or productive or successful meeting or presentation or something somehow that goes on throughout the course of the weekend and sets us up for next week. So Friday is probably the best day to just maybe like do nothing, you know, if you get off work or when you don't have to. There's really not too much going on, like aside from, you know, our backdrop that's playing out, but the moon really isn't making too many aspects. Things are like really kind of chilled out in terms of the vibe moving through Friday. On Saturday, the moon continues to move through the sign of Taurus, and as I think I mentioned this earlier, will align with Uranus, who's currently in the end of Taurus, also therefore hit a trine to Pluto in the end of Capricorn, this earth sign trine. We do also have a sustained trine going on right now between Uranus and Pluto in earth signs. But this on Saturday and like later in the day on Saturday moving into Sunday, as I was saying earlier, there could be something that is like exciting a little bit going on, or bringing some enthusiasm, or there could just be like this urge to do something different, be spontaneous. Surprises could be at play with the moon Uranus conjunction, changes to plans, realizations and awakenings. I don't feel like it's going to like skew to like the more like upsetting or like disheveling or just very unsettling end of the Uranus energy. Of course, it always can. Uranus expect the unexpected energy, but just right now in this general setup, and especially in the greater context of like how tense things have been lately, I think that it's going to be probably less of a disturbance and more of just kind of like something that, you know, something new or something exciting, or doing something, having like a spontaneous urge to do something a bit different than we normally do. And there could be some of these like, again, like internalized realizations or something that come with that on Saturday, but it is more of a uplifting and exciting, enthusiastic energy with that Uranian connection. With the Taurus moon, though, the emphasis on good food, good music, like fuzzy blankets, doing creative hobbies, building things. It's a really good weekend to get in your body, experience the physical world, indulge the physical senses somehow, and just maybe try to take all of the issues, put them on the side, be in the moment, and focus on the simple things. Scorpio is a sign all about depth and complexity. Taurus is a sign all about simple, calm, grounded, physical sensation, beauty. Okay, so there is a lot of complexity, layers, levels, dimensions of things going on right now that we're dealing with, figuring out, moving through, and this is a very good like polarizing force, like balancing force, while we move through Libra season to balance out that extra emphasized level of just like Scorpio complexity right now. So I like it. And the guidance, you know, therefore associated with the Taurus moon would be simplify, as I've said, like simple pleasures, simple comforts, being in the moment, taking a break. Okay, feeling the world around you, beautifying yourself or your surroundings, grounding yourself as well, just taking it easy. This is what is going to benefit us. This is what is going to like charge our batteries and prepare us for whatever we might be dealing with as these harsher squares come in more prominently again next week. And now let's talk about Venus in the sign of Sagittarius. As I said, after the moon finishes coming into conjunction with Uranus and Taurus on Saturday, the moon will prepare to leave the sign of Taurus and enter Gemini, where we're actually going to get more Venus energy because Venus has recently entered Sagittarius. She entered Sagittarius, as I mentioned, pretty much alongside the full moon. Was not in Sagittarius for the moment of the full moon. Was it actually 29 degrees of Scorpio, an exact aspect of Pluto at 29 Capricorn, but shortly thereafter left Scorpio, entered Sagittarius, and today is actually at 1 degree of Sagittarius, so has started the process of moving through Sag. We've got Venus in Sag, and the moon entering Gemini is going to hit the early degrees of Gemini, come obviously then into an opposition with Venus in the early degrees of Sag. So that means that we need to talk about Venus and Sagittarius. This is sort of a like girls just want to have fun type of vibe when I think about Venus and Sagittarius, like big love, celebrating life. I can have it all type of energy, strong desire for like big and expansive experiences, embracing like truly all that life has to offer, wanting freedom, wanting to explore, wanting to know everything and to experience everything. This is Venus and Sagittarius. It's like this boundless love and lust for life and the fullness of all that it has to offer and the experiences associated with that. It's Sagittarius, of course, is ruled by Jupiter, planet of expansion, planet of truth, planet of the big picture and just like the broadened perspective of things. So when we put the feminine energy in that sign, like that's how it's going to reflect back. It's also a very creative energy as well. It can be a very abundant, very fertile energy because Sagittarius energy ruled by Jupiter makes things grow. Venus is a very creative force. So, you know, we've got that playing itself out as well. And as I said, as Venus moves through her transit of Sagittarius, she is going to come into an opposition with the ruler of Sag, Jupiter, in the sign of Gemini. And this is indicating to me that despite, again, sort of like the storms raging in the distance on the sidelines, there is some type of like collectively beneficial or fortunate situation or financial increase or growth or valuable information. There's a strong like informational component to this as well, with the Gemini Sagittarius axis being activated here. But there should be something like either fortunate, good luck, expansion, like good news, good opportunities, like valuable information or something like that. Like I said, valuable opportunities, blessed partnerships as well. That's another thing. There has been something, and it's been coming through, honestly, in like these like more obscured ways. Like, yes, we have had Venus and Mars in a trine and water sign, which is indicating like beautifully aligned, very like heartfelt and synchronized connections and collaborations and partnerships and stuff like that coming through that really like balance each other out and you're very like creative and productive force. Venus and Mars and trine have been going on, and that is like this very beautiful energy. But there's also just been a lot of other random, like more obscure things, aspects going on that have also been indicating to me the positive and productive and like almost like fated nature of the connections that are coming into formation right now and the partnerships that are like joining and like the things that are being drawn together. There's a lot of purpose and potential and value in the context of people, places, and situations that are kind of being like magnetically drawn together right now. So again, want to put that out there. And that's also being reflected as we move through this next couple of weeks while Venus is transiting Sagittarius and coming into the opposition with Jupiter. This is another energy, another one of those, you know, sideline aspects that like throughout this entire period of time is indicating these like blessed connections, blessed relationships that are like valuable and like purposeful and like highly aligned and like expand our mind and stuff like that. So just something to keep in mind. Okay, there is something of like greater significance in the level of value in the context of, you know, partnerships, relationships, opportunities, stuff like that, that we are finding ourselves like falling into or that are being drawn to us now in some way. There's also likely, as a side, you know, aspect of that, likely to be sort of this return maybe of hope or faith, or just like feeling like things might work out. Could be impacting money, love, friendships, like social situations in the context of other people, which there's been a lot of black moon energy, a lot of like Pluto, Venus energy going on. A lot of things have been like broken down and needed to be cleared out and cleaned up, and sometimes just like gotten rid of altogether in the context of other people, with the South Node there as well over this past couple of months. But again, like, I don't know, feeling better about things in those realms, and something of value or worth, abundance, growth, good luck indicated here moving forward, coming in. So there's that. And Sunday, with the moon entering Gemini and forming the opposition to Venus, we might get like our first kind of like dose or taste of this energy that is also going to be something that we are being blessed with as we go through everything else throughout the course of the month. So we are getting some foreshadowing of maybe some of the good things that are taking root right now and are going to begin to grow or align themselves with us, or like come into fruition somehow, outside of like all of that other stuff that could be going on as well. So overall, doing the best that we can, right, in our current circumstances, head held high. It's going to get easier as we move through the weekend, feeling like the sun maybe will come out again, and we have some things perhaps to actually look forward to. Want to do our best to be grateful for the small things this weekend, and find ways to like experience pleasure and comfort and the good, simple things in life. Okay, so that's what I have to say about the astrology for this weekend. I want to read you guys actually all the Sabian symbols that are associated with Friday's chart as we enter the weekend. I just felt like they were really kind of all relatively in alignment with what the energy is telling us, and we can see in the symbolism the positive notes of things that are starting to come through. And maybe I don't know, maybe they can like give us even a little bit more hope about where things are eventually like moving themselves. Okay, so we have the position of the sun on Friday at 26 degrees of Libra, an eagle and a large white dove constantly turning one into the other. We have the earth at 26 Aries, a man possessed of more gifts than he can hold. We have Mercury at 8 degrees of Scorpio, the moon shining across the lake. We have Venus at 2 degrees of Sagittarius, the ocean covered with white caps. I feel like that's sort of like our undercurrent and backdrop right there, coming with what Venus is talking about in her degree placement. But we have Mars at 24 degrees of Cancer, a woman and two men cast away on a small island. Saturn at 14 Pisces, a woman wrapped in fox fur. We have Jupiter at 22 Gemini, dancing couples crowd the barn in a harvest festival. There's some good Taurus energy for you guys. Like, that is the type of thing that would probably benefit all of us on like a soul level. I mean, I'm sure, you know, most people aren't going to go out there and do some square dancing in a harvest festival, but if you could like take that type of vibe and apply it to something that you might actually do or enjoy to do, like, that's, you know, what I'm kind of talking about here. We have Uranus at 27 Taurus, an old Indian woman selling beads and trinkets. That's also right in alignment with like this Taurus energy and like the simple things and like a cultivating a value for, you know, just like what is simple, but also what is meaningful. We also have Neptune at 28 degrees of Pisces. A fertile garden under the full moon reveals an abundance of full-grown vegetables. Looking at what we have, focusing on what we're growing and what has grown, and what we really want to nurture and put our energy into, and maybe not so much just like not what's not working out at this period of time. Of course, we've got Pluto holding out right there at 29 Capricorn, a secret meeting of men responsible for world affairs. We still have the North and the South node at 7 Taurus and or 7 Aries and Libra. 7 Aries, where the North node is a man successfully expressing himself in 2 realms at once, and 7 Libra, where the South node is a woman feeding chickens and protecting them from hawks. And then the Black Moon at 13 Libra, children blowing soap bubbles, another one of these simple pleasure vibe type of like symbols going on. So that's where we've got all the planets hanging out on Friday, the symbolism associated. I feel like it leans really well right into the general vibe of this Taurus moon, Gemini moon, Venus opposition that we've got going on this weekend. Nothing, again, like I said, too triggering in terms of the cardinal squares that we've got playing out there, so we can perhaps shut out that complexity and intensity this weekend and just focus on, again, like being in the moment and cultivating our peace. Okay, so that's what I have to say about everything like that. We're gonna get a synchronicity card now. Ask God, Spirit, Universe for one final piece of advice, guidance that we can use to move ourselves through the weekend and prepare for the energy that's incoming next week. Oh, okay, well, a bunch of them just fell on the floor. So those aren't supposed to be options. Let's, there's our card. And it says, you will be guided. Sent his angel to show the things which shortly must be done, Revelation 22:6. Shortly, you will be shown the direction you should take. The way will open up for you to move forward. Seize the opportunity that comes to you. Know you are being divinely guided. Listen to the voice within for guidance. So we're shutting out the world this weekend, you guys. Listen to the voice within for guidance. Shortly, you will be directed perhaps on what it is that you need to do. Just like I've been talking about these opportunities, right? Seize the opportunity that comes to you and the restoration of our faith coming through. Okay, so that's where we're at, you guys. You will be guided. I hope everybody has a beautiful weekend. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, you guys, share it with your friends if you think they would be interested in this type of astrology content as well. Leave me comments. I'm so grateful for your feedback, you guys. I appreciate knowing what's going on with you out there. If you're having experiences that line up with what I'm talking about in these videos, let me know in my comment section below. Again, that is valuable to me, and it's meaningful for me when I'm talking about this energy to know, how it is literally playing out for you guys. So thank you for that. If you want to know what's on this whiteboard, I have a Facebook group where I post images of the whiteboards linked in my description box below. That's where you can find that. And come back with me on Monday, you guys. I have already done quite a bit of foreshadowing into the energy of Monday myself, but I will be back to talk all about it, and you don't want to miss it. We are moving. You guys know what we're moving into next week. So I'll be here to talk about it. You should be here too. You don't want to miss it. And I will see you then, guys. Have a beautiful weekend. And until then, bye.